Hello, welcome to another Burgundy with Tweedy. Sorry, it's yet again another one in my back garden. I was down in Belgravia today, as one does, for the lighting up ceremony on Elizabeth Street. I just happened to remember there's a Jeroboams there. And I don't know if it's because, I don't know what this occasion was, but they had a 15% discount. So I had a quick look around the shelves. I've actually gone for something a little bit, just a tiny bit fancy, not particularly fancy. It's like an unboxing video, isn't it? You're not going to get a very satisfactory view of the label with this lighting, are you? But is that just about visible? Rossignol Trapet. I have featured them before a few times. This is a Premier Cru from them, from Gevrey Chambertin. It's Petite Chapelle. I had a, was that Chapelle Chambertin? Sorry, all this rustling noise. A Grand Cru that time to celebrate Tweedy Outdoors. Its first, whatever it was, amount of revenue. This is, I suppose, the sort of lesser cousin of that. I don't think I've featured a lot of Premier Cru Gevrey Chambertin on this channel. It tends to almost always be the village level stuff. So this is a bit of a treat for me. As always, very suboptimal conditions for talking about the colour. But one characteristic I particularly remember of Chapelle Chambertin, and I believe this is, I'm guessing from the name, this is pretty much next door, is that the wines are quite pale. And despite these challenging lighting conditions, I think we're seeing that again here, quite a sort of translucent, pale version of Burgundy there. And if you recall, that Chapelle Chambertin was an absolute kaleidoscope of different aromas. It was very complex, changeable wine. What do we have here? So I haven't yet given this a proper swirl, I don't think. And I'm getting that kind of delicate, fragrant cherry to begin with before any swirling. And that was the sort of bedrock of that Chapelle Chambertin, as I recall. Soft, delicate, rather lovely, actually, pretty version of cherry on the nose there before anything else. Glimpses of floral hints around the edges there. Let's give that a bit of a swirl, see what it does. Now, probably just a sort of slightly fuller version of the same. A little bit sort of richer, tiny bit more maraschino-y sort of version of cherry now. It's nice though, it's pretty. I feel like I've had a run of Gevrey Chambertins recently which have exhibited quite different fruit character, not so much cherry for a while. It's nice to have something that's sort of simple, dainty cherry on the nose over and above everything else. Good start. And that is rather lovely on the palate. Dainty, quite elegant, quite sophisticated. This is certainly not one of your big, powerful, robust Gevrey Chambertins. I'm getting some notes of tannin and possibly licorice and maybe even little flicks of tobacco around the edges there. But fundamentally, that is, it's delicate, it's dainty, and rather pretty. Really nice weight to that. Really sort of dances over the tongue. But again, yeah, little hints of tobacco there. So it's a sort of genteel version of pipe tobacco, perhaps. One of those kind of flavoured pipe tobaccos. Never smoked a pipe myself. Occasionally thought I might quite like to, just for the image of it. But, yeah, more licorice, more tobacco, but delicate cherry. That's a really interesting marriage of those two things that I wouldn't necessarily expect to go hand in hand. Normally, licoricey, tobacco-y notes come along with a sort of rich, thick, dense sort of a Burgundy, and not so much with these lighter, delicate, prettier ones. So I'm actually quite enjoying that, weirdly. It's as though it's sort of pipe tobacco made for a child. Really lovely. And it's about half the price, I think, if I recall correctly, of that Chapelle Chambertin, although they were different vintages, so perhaps we're comparing apples and oranges here. But little bits of floral note on the nose now. The usual sort of rose and violet petals sort of thing. Well, I'm sure this is going to develop as the bottle goes down. It is giving me lots of flashbacks to that wonderful Chapelle Chambertin, so I'm sure I'll be experiencing different things, but I'm not sure if I'm going to get around to doing any further tasting notes because, like I say, I've got dinner to make and other stuff to do, and you may be just left with that initial glimpse and that's all. But so far I'm really enjoying that. Really nice. Cheers.